What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 62 of The Climb, the start of season number 9, here with Luzenak. Yes, it's a big season, everyone. Our first year in the Champions League, we are looking upwards and upwards, and hoping desperately that we are going to be able to challenge the likes of, PSG, hopefully, for the title this year. Of course, the pre-season for this season was played live over on Twitch. I will have a link down in the description to the VOD. That will be available for the first, I think, 2 or 3 months that this video is up. So if you're watching in years' time, I'm sorry it doesn't exist anywhere, but if you did miss it or you just want to find out more about the progress and process, I suppose, that went into this off-season, you are more than welcome to watch the 4.5-hour VOD, which should give you a pretty good overview of exactly what went down. Anyway, in terms of the transfer business, it's probably been our quietest transfer window in quite some time. I mean, look at these graphs. Compared to every other year, just not a great deal of sales, not a great deal of purchases, but we have spent a little bit of money in a few different areas of the pitch. Firstly, let's talk about the outs, the first of which of note is Dirk Proper, who has gone to Watford. This is a chap that we picked up for a pretty measly fee a few years ago. Only played 4 games last year. Granted, he played well when he played, but his contract was expiring at the end of the year. Didn't really want to give him a new deal, and ultimately, I think to receive £4 million for him isn't too bad a sum of money considering the price we paid. Of course, with him going now into the Premier League, you can see inevitably his value just spikes up alongside his new contract. But besides that, I think it's not too big a loss to us, to be honest. The other players that really left were a lot of loanees, and then just Jessim Palisard, who is a good player, of course. He was a very useful forward for us for a year or two. But, you know, more recently he's been out on loan for a year, got 3 goals in 22. I just don't think he's got the quality of a league player. So ultimately we have decided to let him move on his merry way. He has gone to play in Belgium in the Pro League. So, yeah, those are literally the only sales, which is quite a contrast to last year. We've gone from selling £150 million worth of players to being in a position now where, well, as you can see, we've literally sold 5.75 million, which it looks a bit silly, doesn't it? But we've got a young squad. It's a developing squad. And to be honest, when I looked across the team as a whole last year, there were a few areas that I wanted to address, but ultimately, our team is a team that is only, I think, going to get better. And so with that in mind, I didn't really desperately feel like we needed to upgrade too many different positions. In the end, as you can see, we spent 18 million. So let's go through the players that we signed. The first is Patrice Bergua. He is just a free transfer. Do a bit of a punt. I don't think he's actually very good, but look, he's a freebie. If we make some money, great. If we don't, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. And then we come on to free transfers, only one of which is really a player who I envisage playing regular first-team football this year. That is Amadou Colley, 18 years old, Senegalese international. What an incredible centre-back he is. Very, very good player. Worth noting that he is injury-prone, which did cast a few doubts on the transfer when I was weighing it up. But ultimately, this is a guy who's played a lot of regular football. I think he comes into the team and is the ideal kind of third-choice centre-back. And Soki last year played a lot of football for us, the 28-year-old. Signed for £7 million, was a good little backup, but I don't really see him as a longer-term option, whereas Amadou Colley, I can really see getting some regular first-team football this year when we need to rotate, when we get injuries. Really injects a bit of quality, I suppose, into the centre-back position. Anyway, the other player we signed who's going to be a real first-team player, at least immediately, is Milen Todorov, who is a good little versatile forward. Can play either attacking mid position, can play as a striker, plays for Bulgaria, so has that relationship with Tomov. And to be honest, I just really, really like him. He's a good little player. Was relegated last year with Amiens, but in a year where he got relegated, he managed to get double-figure goals, and he definitely was their standout player. And yeah, for less than 6 million, it's a very low-risk transfer. A player who, if he hits the ground running, great. If he scores a load of goals, great. If he doesn't, I don't feel like I wouldn't feel terribly disappointed, I suppose, because I feel like he's kind of coming in to be that plan B. Last year, Gadget, of course, was meant to be that plan B and just didn't score for us at all, which was a bit unfortunate, really. Anyway, the only other transfer we did was perhaps the best transfer of the window. Sidibe signed from Stuttgart for 1.5 million, an absolute bargain. Had a release clause in his contract as soon as we noticed it. As soon as it was flagged by our scouts, we were all over him. He's currently with the reserves, but do not be surprised if he does make his way into the first team and certainly onto the bench once or twice throughout this season. Just a really, really good prospect. Anyway, as you can perhaps tell from that. We've not really revolutionised the team. We have still got £15 million in transfer budget. One of the things I was desperately looking for over the transfer window was a striker to replace Sesko. And it wasn't a case of that I felt like Sesko wasn't good enough. It was more a case of I felt like of all the areas in the team, a striker is somewhere where we could perhaps have a really big difference made. Ultimately, there wasn't a striker that I loved for the price. I mean, £15 million to go out there and find a Champions League striker just isn't a lot of money by modern day standards. So my thinking is Kofi's the man this year. Honestly, when we were looking through strikers, we looked through a hell of a lot. Kofi was better than all the players that I could find and all the players we looked at. And ultimately, he's homegrown at club. He's played a lot of football for us out on the left wing. I think this year we have to give him a shot, an extended run, kind of in the first team as the striker in the team. So that's the intention to start the year. Of course, Sesko last year did get 18 goals. It's not like he's not scoring for us. It's just a case of I want to, get as much progress as we can. And I do feel like, again, a striker who can break that 20 goal mark could be the difference maker, and I'm hoping that Kofi can be that man at 21 years old. Still plenty of time for him. Still a little bit of transfer business going on. How do I explain this? Neymar might be joining us on loan from Flamengo. Honestly, I'm trying to think of how I can justify this. Basically, I would quite like to loan Neymar so I can play him against PSG and beat them with Neymar playing for us. A bit of a poetic narrative as we turn one of their own players against them. We're looking to loan him for half a year. He's only got 6 months left on his contract in Brazil. We would pay all of his wages and a small monthly fee. I can afford, theoretically, to do that. Will I do it? Should I do it? Two perhaps different questions with different answers required. I think it'd be quite fun. But no, we'll see. Maybe sensibility will take control of me. Ultimately, we've got 67 million in the bank. There's a lot of money there to spend. If Neymar did join us, we would go massively over the wage budget, but that might be a price I'm willing to pay. Well, I'm trying to justify it and convince myself it's a good move. Let me know what you think. I think it'd be fun. And Football Manager's a video game. It should be fun. That's the only argument I can really construct. Anyway, in terms of the team for this season, as you can perhaps imagine, there's not a whole host of new faces coming in. Amadou Colley on the bench, the Senegalese centre-back, is the real player of note. In terms of shuffling the final third, I'm thinking if Kofi does end up playing as a regular up front, Huskarich will nail down the left inside forward position as his own. He has been kicking up a little bit of a stink lately about wanting a new contract, something that I am keeping a little bit of an eye on. Ideally, he'll forget about it or lower his demands. He was asking for far too much money. He was wanting to become the highest earning player at the team, which for someone who wasn't the first name on the team sheet and in fact started on the bench for a fair whack of last season, does feel a little unreasonable. Anyway, you can see the rest of the team here. It's a good little team. Worth noting that Baumann has returned from his loan at Nancy. We are going to play him a little bit this year. Was obviously a standout player for them as they got European football. And also Mamadou Kouyaté is going to come into the team with Proper out of the side. Obviously there's a spot or two free for a young centre mid to come in. And I think these two players really do tick the bill. Two players with a little bit of room to improve. And hopefully they're going to get that first team football required to improve after a few years of being loaned out. Anyway, as you can see, the team on the whole is a little bit on the larger side perhaps, but overall I'm really happy with the balance of it. We've currently got a squad of 28 players. I think we've got coverage in just about every position, some really good quality across the squad, and some good potential as well. Players with a little bit of room to grow, which is certainly a direction that we want to be moving in. Today's first game of the season, I've not even mentioned, it is against PSG. It's not in the league, it's the Trophée des Champions. This is a competition between the Ligue 1 winner and the French Cup winner, which of course is us. We won a competition last year. That makes it sound like we won like a competition on the back of a cereal box, doesn't it, to qualify for this? Of course, we have got the Champions League coming up. We go into the group stage, awaiting the draw for that, so we will wait with eager anticipation. Either way, I do feel like there will be a bit of transfer business done over the month of August. We've got a month left of the window. Of course, with this kind of Trophée des Champions game, the pre-season was a little bit shorter than I'm used to. That's my excuse for perhaps not getting a little bit more business done. But anyway, let's submit the team for today's game. Big moment, big game. Worth noting that this year I have got kind of a plan B. This is the Luzenak do something system. This is the one for when nothing's working, nothing's going in, and I just want to throw men forward in the last minute. And I have also just got a little bit of a more defensive 4-4-2, maybe to try and catch teams out on the break. But for today's game, at least to start things, we're going to start with the system that we know and love, a system that served us very well last year, and a system that hopefully is going to serve us well again this year. Of course, we've beaten PSG in recent memory. In fact, a few times. They are not unbeatable by any means. And I've kind of set up this year as the year where really we need to try and take them down, or at least significantly close down the gap. Is that a realistic goal? Is that possible? I feel like this game might be a kind of good indication of whether or not it is or isn't possible. I'm hoping desperately it is. I feel like we are good enough to, well, close them down here. But we will have to see. Of course, this is a cup final in itself. Is it a cup competition that I desperately care about? Honestly, I think it's maybe because I don't know how highly rated the Trophée des Champions is in France, but in England, that's an annoying goal to concede. Mariba brings it forward and the rebound was scored. What I was going to say is, with me, in England, the Community Shield, the competition between the FA Cup winner and the league winner, isn't that big of a deal. Like, it's a nice start to the season, but it's not going to define your season. I have no idea what kind of esteem this competition is held in. I'm just going to treat it the exact same way. Clearly, our players are as well. 2 minutes gone, we're a goal down. That is not good. Not good at all. Let's get a bit shouty. No one's reacted. They're all composed. You can be composed all you want, lads. We're 1-0 down. Our start to the season isn't too difficult. That is something worth noting in the league itself. This game, a little bit difficult. But no, we've got, I think, Lyon, second month in. But ultimately, I'm hoping we can get off to a good start. And obviously, this would give us a little bit of momentum going into that. At the same time, I'm probably not going to lose sleep over it. Anyway, they knock the ball into the wide area. Mbappe down to Keanu Hoover, who brings it forward. Huge tackle by Nohan Kene, who gets it down the line to Huskaric. Can we break now? Can we strike? Kofi playing that lone forward role, but got a bit of a point to prove perhaps. He gets dispossessed of possession rather easily there. They're bringing the ball forward. Mbappe, huge tackle by Huskaric. Go again, boys. Crunch him. When I say crunch him, I mean fair tackle. Fair but hard. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't mind injuring Mbappe for the rest of the season. Ibrahim Asuma has now scored. How good are you? You're a regen player in this team, so I'm going to assume you're quite good. Wow. He's quite good. I think he was on loan at Porto last year, actually. He was a player who came up when I was looking through players, and I got really excited because he was playing for Porto, and then I realised he was on loan from PSG and just cried myself to sleep. He finds his way through on goal. He's tremendous physicals, finding that extra inch of space. He squares it, and you know what? We're going to go to the 4-4-2. Because we need goals, I'm going to have to go from cautious to more attacking. We're going to go to the 4-4-2. I feel like it's time. Although, actually, is that the right setup? That is the right setup. Sometimes players shuffle around in Football Manager. I'm sure you know that familiar feeling. One day, I hope, that's my feature request at FM20. Jack, people ask me, Jack, what feature do you want? I want the ability to, when you flick between transfers, between tactics, for the players to retain their position. Sometimes they shuffle around. I think you know what I'm talking about. We've all experienced it in Football Manager. Don't pretend you haven't. Oh, we give. It's not going great. I'll hold my hands up and admit this is not the start to the season I wanted. In this season where I'm saying we need to close the gap. Mbappe from the penalty spot. Tomov saves it. Get the rebound, Tomov. What a keeper. If we're going to do well this year, I actually think Tomov's going to be a really big part. We've been awful in that half. I literally don't know what to say. We've had 29% of the ball. We've not been good enough. I'm gonna push the centre mids forward a little bit, but ultimately it's just a little bit shocking, boys. There's no point in trying to glam it up. Also, I don't need to know your penalty taking anymore. Right, what do I want to do? I think honestly, the best bet is just to go into the second half and hope that we can soldier on. Let's get a little shout. I might have forgot my team talk there, which is a little awkward. I mean, it's still only 2-0. Still only there's time for a comeback. Kenne's picked up a booking. That's concerning. Right. Can I have some reason to be positive, boys? That's all I'm really asking for here. Give me a reason to be optimistic for the season. Right now, it's not really happening. Hoover bring the ball forward, squares it, edge of the box, Moriba shot block, blocked again, Mbappe down with it, squares it to Lautaro Martinez, Marlon Adriano, huge block there, my friend. Absolutely massive. Mbappe, though, to whip in the corner towards the penalty spot. Tomov holds on to it. Look how many men we've got forward. Tomov, you've got to get it forward quickly. That's the ball. That is the out ball right there. It's a 3-on-3 break. That is a crunching tackle, shall we say. We've got a chance here for Felipe Jonathan. Launch it, Jonathan. He does launch it straight into Onana's hands. Onana's caught a few of those today. They've had 4 clear-cut chances. We've had none. We've had 1 shot. We've got 3% more of possession this game. I mean, what is quite apparent here is PSG are just kind of outclassing us. Which, considering their wage budget is 7 times bigger than ours. I did actually check it. It's 7 times bigger than ours. They spend 7 times more on their squad than we spend on our squad. It's kind of inevitable that it is going to be quite hard to close that gap. The golfing quality is pretty difficult to overcome. You'll know this if you've ever managed in France. We've hit what I like to call the PSG wall, which is it's a specialty when you manage in France. You basically get to a level where you're better than the rest, but PSG just cause you issues. And maybe off the back of this game, I need to respect the fact that maybe the aim this season should just be to be the best of the rest. But at the same time, there's not enough time to FM21 to accept that fate. I want to push further as we're learning here, though. It might be difficult, although we haven't actually played like terrible football. Like some of the highlights, we've actually knocked the ball around quite nicely. We've got a chance here. Kene, I mean, it's 2-1. Why am I writing us off? We're doing this. We're doing it. We are doing it. I believe in us, boys. Kene gets his first goal of the year. He got double figures last year from centre mid. I wonder if he could do it again this year. Kofi with the assist as well is lovely to see. Huskaric running down the left wing. Not the quickest player, of course. Squares it inside. Kofi, really nice play just to square it. It's 2-1, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, I believe. I've always believed. I never doubted our ability. They're probably going to score immediately now, but no, seriously, I believe. And, I mean, if it's 2-1 with 5 minutes left, the Luzenac do something system will be coming out. Anyway, another highlight here. Of course, we've come back from 2 goals behind against PSG before, although in that game we were better throughout. I felt like we were unfortunate to be 2-0 down in that game where we came back to win 3-2. This game, so far, they have been the better team, quite comfortably as well. Sardella is looking exhausted. Let's take him off. Poor Sardella. Novan Galvez come in. Also, Ari's looking awful out on the right wing. I'm going to put Kofi on the right wing. We're going to bring in Benjamin Sesko. Yeah, remember him? He's still around. He was our top goal scorer last year. Deserves some respect on his name. Ball whipped in, headed away. Can we get the second ball? Can we get the second ball? Kene, Lopez, hit that Lopez. Someone just get the shot away. I mean, it's 2-1, everyone. I want to believe. Marlon Adriano. Back to Brahim Bra. I've said Brahim Bra. It's not It's not Brahim. Just giving him a made-up first name. Why not? Galvez kicks it straight at his man. PSG may look to break now. Of course, we are committing men into the attack. And we are opening ourselves up to a counter. But we kind of have to. Unfortunately for us, the situation we find ourselves in is one where we need goals. We need a goal at the very least. Suma bringing the ball forward. Already 1 goal to his name. Hits it from range. Tomov collects. No nonsense. Absolutely no nonsense. Demand more. 10 minutes left. And look at that. You're just subbing on a world-class midfielder. Right. It's time, everyone. I feel like I'm pressing the big red go nuclear button. It's like, the last resort. Here we go. Here we go. Huskaric is going to play there. Look at it. It's just ready to go. We've got one last sub in our locker. You know what? I'm going to take off Huskaric and I'm going to play Lopez as a false 9. And Ortiz, you're going to score a banger from range. It's what you do. I believe in him. This is the kind of one last roll of the die system. We might as well go very attacking. So many men forward. Of course nothing. We switched to like 4 strikers and we just don't score. It's disappointing. PSG 2. Luzenac 1. I mean, I'm not surprised by the result. I would say 2-1 maybe makes us look a bit better than we were. But ultimately, it was close. On the scoreline at the very least. It was close. We gave them a good game, all things considering. In the end, Kene's goal was not enough to inspire a comeback. But we only lost 2-1. we only lost 2-1, which in the grand scheme of things, I don't think is that terrible. The big news now really is, I suppose, that we've got to shift our focus and refocus ahead of the season, starting in just over a week's time. It's going to be a big time for us. As I said, we've still got 15 million in the bank. There will be a link, as I mentioned already, down in the description to the Twitch VOD for the season. So if you want to watch that, kind of see how we got to where we are, it's a roller coaster to say the very least. In the next week, what do I intend on doing? I think we'll look at how we can spend the 15 million. Is there maybe a striker out there? Is there a player in midfield or defence that could really, offer a big upgrade for a reasonable fee? I think that's, something that we certainly have to explore. But ultimately, I would love to sign maybe just one player who injects a little bit of quality into the team. Quite where that player is, if that player exists as well, remains to be seen. But no, feeling cautiously optimistic for the season. You can just see, looking here at the board, the media prediction is 4th, so they're expecting us to hopefully get into the Champions League. Expectation in the Champions League has not been set yet, actually, but our expectation in the league is Euro 2, which we should be doing, because that's like 6th or 7th, and I think we're good enough to do that. Anyway, that's going to wrap up everything from me today, guys. Let me know what you made of that performance. I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest, but 2-1, not outclassed all the way through, just for the first 70 minutes. Yeah, we're going to be kicking on into the season next time. When I join you, it'll probably be after the August transfer window has slammed shut, possibly for an away trip to Lyon, a favourite team of mine. But anyway, that's all, as I've already said. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do drop a like on it. If you've got any thoughts, opinions, all that good stuff, leave them down in the comments. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll see you guys next time.